In this section of the video, titled The Rapture, Greatest Display of Grace Ever Demonstrated, David Benjamin discusses the rapture as Christ's transformation of the church.
This is the masterpiece of God, the new creation that Christ is producing in his resurrection by his power. And this is the work that we are very little aware of, that ministry comes out of. You know, a true minister is going to have a view of this. Christ as life being wrought into the church for the building up the masterpiece of God to be his inheritance. That's what motivated Paul. This is the kind of view we need to have of the rapture, because there is a watchfulness and a enjoyment of the Lord, and even a co-working with the Lord unto that day. On the one hand, it's not anticipated by any signs. On the other hand, there's a work going on in the church to make it happen. The rapture is about a work in the church. It is about the Christ being wrought into his church to produce the masterpiece of God. And so many people are going to be caught unaware because they are not at all aware of Christ's life in them, and they're not aware of this work in them, and they think it's foolishness. And to them, they think they're watching for the rapture, okay? And I'm sorry, I know I keep harping on this. They're watching signs that are related to his coming with the saints. But there are no signs for the coming for the saints. The rapture is an unexpected event unless you're abiding in Christ. And that has much more to do with knowing him and not standing in your own righteousness and standing in him and being assured before him and having your conscience shored up and having the love of God dwell in you, than watching signs in Israel that are related not to his secret coming, but to his open coming with his saints 7 years later. Again, that's why it's important to distinguish these two events. Okay, sorry, yeah, I'm all over the place. This is my fun, you know. My fun is to read something like this and then let my mind meditate and just follow wherever it goes. And the Lord does, I believe he leads. 1 Corinthians 15:51, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. That corresponds with Thessalonians, which I'm sure he'll cover, that talks about how the dead in Christ shall rise first, then we who are alive shall be caught up and remain, shall be caught up together with him in the cloud to meet him with them. And we will forever be with the Lord. And that's a comfort for us. Okay. But the point is, it's the transfiguration of the church to be resurrected in her order, like unto the first fruit. Christ is presented in the first fruit as the first fruit in that chapter. And if you read Paul's analogies, he uses a seed and a harvest. You know, when he's like, well, what would the resurrection be like? As the question that was posed. He's like, don't you know that a seed is planted? And then when the resurrection occurs, what happens is that it doesn't look like the seed, it looks like the harvest. If I give you a bag with a seed in it and some dirt and say, that's a rose bush, you say, no, it's not. That's just a seed and some dirt. Yeah, but plant it in the earth. You plant it in the earth and eventually it grows up. And what it blossoms into is the rose bush. You know, that doesn't look like the seed. That's a huge, beautiful bush. Right, that's what God's looking at. God has the first fruit in heaven, the finished work of Christ. The firstborn of many, firstborn from the dead, the firstborn of many brethren who will be conformed to his image in heaven with him as a first fruit of what we will be when the sons of God are glorified, when the church is transfigured. And that is not about events on earth. That is about Christ as life wrought into his church and then being manifested in the church, multiplied in the church, to become an inheritance for the Father, and saying, behold, I and the children you have given me. It will be the most glorious event in the universe. It's what the universe was created for. The universe groans for the manifestation of the sons of God, right? And not only them, but we also, who have the first fruits of the Spirit. We have a sample taste of Christ, just like the Father does. We will inherit him in full, and the Father will inherit his fullness in the church at the same time. So don't think that the Father is not looking forward to receiving the church as much as we are looking forward to getting out of here. Much more.